Hello and welcome to Connected to India. I'm Poonam Sharma. The countdown has begun for Pravasi Bharatiya Divas to be held in Singapore on the 6th and 7th of January. The 2018 Singapore edition of PBD is going to be one of the biggest one to be held outside India. The excitement around the event is palpable, and to know more about it, we spoke to the Indian High Commissioner to Singapore, Mr. Javed Ashraf. Welcome to Connected to India, sir. Like we said, just few more days to go. Tell us how the preparations are going, what's the update, and what kind of response have you got to the event so far?
Well, thank you Poonam, thank you. A pleasure to be back on Connected to India, and thank you for all the support Connected to India has given for the publicity of PBD and for all the support in outreach as well. I think the event is shaped up extremely well. There is a great deal of buzz around it, as you've said. We expect a huge response from Singapore, but we are also delighted to see that there will be delegations from practically every ASEAN country, and that's a really good thing. We're getting people from Brunei and Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, of course, is really big. That's a great part of it. Art, Writers' Festival, exhibitions, Cinefest. We've got Ayurveda and yoga, youth competitions for which there's been an extraordinary response across all areas, from hackathon to music and dance and essays. So we're in good shape. We are also getting an outstanding lineup of speakers. As you're aware, from India, Mrs. Sushma Swaraj, the very popular External Affairs Minister, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, the minister who's practically handling all of infrastructure in India, two very, very important Chief Minister, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu and Mr. Sarbanda Sonowal from Assam.
A big part of PBD is related to business. That's,
yes.
That's a big aspect of it. Tell us, what are the businesses that PBD is going to be focusing on from India and from the ASEAN region?
Well, you're right. I mean, this is really going to be one of the biggest ever business events in Singapore on India and ASEAN. There are about 8 sessions focusing on themes like ASEAN-India Economic Partnership, India and ASEAN in the digital world, to see how we can work together in this new age, digital age. We'll have sessions on infrastructure, financing, Make in India, on connectivity, tourism, legal framework of doing business, on trade and services as well. In addition to all this, there is a 2-day event called the India-Singapore/ASEAN Entrepreneurship Bridge, which we call Inspreneur. It will bring a number of wonderful startups, at least 100 from both Singapore and India together, and we expect some good matchmaking. We'll see the presence of at least 50-60 investors who are looking for good startup opportunities to invest in.
So this is the business and the economic aspect of it. The other aspect is the emotional aspect, which the diaspora and NRI community is really looking forward to, that is connecting back to the roots through PBD.
You know, it's actually a very good point. So let me say this, that India and ASEAN may be celebrating 25 years of partnership, but India and Southeast Asia have a relationship that goes back to more than 2 millennia, more than 2,000 years. And this is something we will definitely highlight in Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in a variety of ways. There is, of course, as I said, an occasion to showcase the talent in various dimensions like art, literature, cinema. There's going to be a wonderful gala dinner that will showcase both this timeless cultural and culinary links between India and Southeast Asia.
2018 is going to start with Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. We'll then have the Republic Day celebrations where state heads of 10 ASEAN countries are going to be part of. And then, of course, in June, Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi is going to be here in Singapore delivering the Shangri-La Dialogue.
You're right. We start off with a bang with Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, which, by the way, I must emphasize, is not just a diaspora event. A number of speakers and a number of participants are not from the Indian diaspora. Some of the best speakers are actually people who are not part of the Indian diaspora. So we don't see it simply as an event for the Indian diaspora, but really as an event which is part of this great India-ASEAN engagement, India-Singapore engagement. And then, of course, as you said, this is a historic moment when, for the first time in the history of independent India, we will have 10 heads of government as chief guests at the Republic Day. This is going to send a huge signal, not just to 1.3 billion people in India, but also across the world, on the importance of ASEAN as an institution, of our commitment to ASEAN unity and centrality in the larger security, economic and political architecture in the region, and of the kind of relationship that we want to build with Southeast Asian countries and with ASEAN as a whole. And of course, Prime Minister, though we haven't officially announced it, but it is now public knowledge that he has accepted the invitation from the Prime Minister of Singapore to deliver the keynote speech at Shangri-La Dialogue, which has, in a sense, emerged as a major platform to debate upon and deliberate upon the security architecture of this region.
I think the diaspora and the NRI community is really looking forward to PBD because it's going to be rich in content and diverse in program. It's truly going to be a historic and exciting event. Thank you so much for talking to Connected to India.
Thank you.
As always, it was a pleasure.
Thank you. Great pleasure.
Big in scale, rich in content, diverse in program. Pravasi Bharatiya Divas 2018 is truly going to be a historic and exciting event. For all the latest news related to PBD 2018, please log on to www.connectedtoindia.com. This is Poonam Sharma signing off from the office of the Indian High Commission in Singapore.